I want to say specifically Nigerian girlies, we will make sure you know who you came to see. If it is a birthday, you don't need to ask who the birthday girl is. If you were to attend a British function and there's warm food, it is rare. So if you're not Nigerian, but you want to appreciate Nigerian parties to the highest order, let me help you out here. The start time, I want you to add about 2 hours to that. They're a lot more frugal with their money. If they need to buy a house, the money is there. If they're, I'm not gonna lie, British culture versus Nigerian culture.
My baby looking too good, yeah, she perfect. No, she worth it. When she pull up, all them man, them flirting. And yeah, she know that she a dime. Call up on my line. Told her, baby, bring it one time. Yeah. Girl, sit down and relax. Girl, let me put it on you, no time for chit-chat.
Yo, what's really good though? It's your girl, Yezzir. You are locked into another banging episode of Hey Sis. We're getting super comfy. My legs are crossed. So if you are listening audibly on Spotify, just know that I am in such a chilled state because I just want to kick it with you, man. I just want to chill with my faves, and that's you. Before we go any further, you know what I'm going to say. Get yourself a cuppa of something, a cup of tea, a cup of coffee. Yeah, coffee. I feel like the best way to say coffee is in the New York accent, which is a cup of coffee. Get you something, maybe a glass of wine. I'm a white wine kind of girl. I'm into Chardonnay. No, I'm not into Chardonnay. I'm into Sauvignon Blancs nowadays. I don't know why. Chardonnay, the finish is just got me in a different way. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't taste the same. But before we go any further into having our very chilled episode, I got to do the preliminary stuff. Why? Because you need to be reminded. So, my Hey Sis UK fam, in case you didn't know, we are on the way to building a team. And the only way we're going to do that is with your help. We got a GoFundMe going on right now. The target, not a biggie. Go on the page, donate. Whether it be a big donation, whether it be a small donation, let me tell you something, every donation counts. I'll put the link in the description box so you can do that. And then we'll be able to get a team which we can actually pay fairly. Because you know about me, what's fair is fair, and people have to be paid the fair amount for the effort they put in. And just a whole heap of other stuff that we got planned for the Hey Sis UK fam. Doom, doom, doom. I haven't got my mug today. I've got my sippy straw because I'll be honest with you. The lip kit, okay, the lip gloss, the lip liner, all that's going on, I don't want it smudged. I'm just going to put it out there. So, if you haven't got a mug, you can go and get yourself an actual Hey Sis mug. Link in the description box, or I'll put it somewhere so you can see. And we got other merch as well, so don't be shy. Get into the conversation the best way by kicking up with an actual Hey Sis mug, locking into a Hey Sis episode. Oh, now I don't know a better combo than that. And before what? The pest dancers, you got to subscribe. If you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Honestly, you're an op. If you're not subscribed, but you watch or listen to the episodes, you have to do that. Anyway, let's get into it. I need to adjust this mic. Cool. I wanted to big up my people them. Yeah? And when I talk about my people them, in case you didn't know, I'm Nigerian. Both parents Nigerian. My mother would prefer for me to refer to her as a Biafran, so I got to do justice. Dad's Yoruba, mum's Igbo. You know, you already know the vibes. Best of both, okay, if I may say so myself. And I just wanted to appreciate my people. The reason being is on this episode, we're going to talk about hospitality, and we're going to talk about when it comes to doing gatherings, birthdays, weddings, christenings, Thanksgiving, I don't know what you want to call it. But when you gather people together in the name of whatever you're celebrating, I wanted to do a little comparable, okay? British culture versus Nigerian culture. And yes, I'm born and raised in England, London to be specific, but I can appreciate both worlds. That's one of the things that I would say is one of the good things about being born somewhere, but having a culture to come back home. You know, if you get, you get. Those that get. So here it is. There are things I can appreciate about British culture. Of course, why wouldn't I? Okay, the efficiency is one thing. One thing I will say, from church services to parties, one thing that I can appreciate about British culture is very sufficient and it's very efficient. If there's a start time, they're going to start at the start time that is put on the invitation. If there's an end time, Not only will the end time be on time, they will give you a heads up at least half an hour before time that, hey, we're about to wrap this up. Okay? I can appreciate that. When we say versus Nigerian parties, you can throw efficiency out the window, because timings, whatever time you see on a Nigerian invite, forget it. That is there for decoration. That is there for the sake of being there. And if you want to know this here, you've probably gone to a few Nigerian parties, weddings, birthday parties, and you might be a bit miffed. That tells me you're probably not Nigerian. So if you're not Nigerian, but you want to appreciate Nigerian parties to the highest order, let me help you out here. The start time, I want you to add about 2 hours to that. So if it says that the party starts at 6, it really starts at 8. And you see that 8 o'clock is when they're ready to start. They're going to gear up to start. It's not going to actually kick off at 8, but it gives you the window of not having to sit there and they're still packing things up, as in they're still setting up the venue itself, okay? So rule of thumb, if you are going to attend a Nigerian shindig, whether it be wedding, party, christening, the start time is 2 hours from the written start time. Cool. The end time, there is no end time. I'll be honest with you. And that's one of the things I love about Nigerian parties, because we will pay whatever we have to pay to have a good time. Money knows no figure when it comes to celebrating as a Nigerian, because when we party hard. When we work hard. So when they say, if you work hard, you play hard, Nigerians are there. We don't go cheap. Now, I don't know what parties you have been to, but you see me, the Nigerians that I know in England, yeah, when they party, no expense is spared. Catering is going to be A1. To decorate the hall or the venue itself is going to be A1. The person celebrating the birthday party, this is one thing I've never understood, yeah? And I find it so awkward. It's so awkward when you're the person celebrating something and no one knows you're the person. Like, they don't know you're the birthday girl. They don't know you are the parent. They don't know that you are, the partner. But you see a Nigerian party, you never have to question who's the person celebrating. Because one thing about Nigerians, and I want to say specifically Nigerian girlies, we will make sure you know who you came to see. If it is a birthday, you don't need to ask who the birthday girl is. Because you see that dress has been custom made months ago. So nobody is going to bump into her in the same outfit. I know that's right. The hair has been laid. The inches, no expense has been spared. The makeup is going to be laid and slayed, and it will not move. So when she's getting up to dance in the same heels that she came into the function to begin with, that makeup's not moving. You know why? Because she paid top price for it. And I'm not talking about just the girlies. Even the aunties. You have aunties celebrating 40th, 50th, 60th. Auntie is coming in. The vehicle she's coming in to the dance is going to be levels. When she steps in, it's levels. The photographer, that's what I'm saying. Even the photographer, they're going to make sure they get the photographer to capture the moment. You think you're going to wear something that costs hundreds or thousands of pounds to make, and you're not going to get a photographer to capture the moment. That is what I'm talking about when we talk about hospitality. The reason why I like attending Nigerian events, good Nigerian events, because we will talk about the pros and cons. I know you're probably thinking, Yezzi, don't be lying and gassing on the internet. I'm not. Okay, cool. The pros when going to a Nigerian party, a Nigerian get-together, and adulting. When you're adulting, like you're an adult and you're going to Nigerian parties, it's a next level, because when you're a kid and you go to Nigerian parties, it's a bit here and there, because when you're ready to go, you can't go. You are a prisoner. You're not going until not when your dad wants to leave, is when your mom wants to leave. Because for some reason, your dad manages to leave when he wants to leave the party, or he stays a bit later than he planned. But you see mums, especially when they see their friends and they get to talking, you're not leaving until she's good and ready to leave. And sometimes you'll be like, yeah, we're leaving. You start packing up, you approach the car, and in your Western mind, you think, oh, surely if we're approaching the car, that means we're about to leave the function. You could still be in the car. Your mom will be stood outside the car, still talking to the auntie, and you will wait patiently. You dare not rush her. Because sometimes, yeah, when you try to rush her, like, oh, mom, I want to go home. I'm ready to go home. Best believe you've just doubled your departure time. The time that you were really going to go, you've made it worse. I'm telling you this. Don't ever. If you're a kid, yeah, and you still have to go with your mum to Nigerian parties in England, yeah, don't rush your mum. I beg you, don't say pim. Because if you try to, you will double your wait time. That's one of the cons when you're a kid. But when you're an adult attending a Nigerian party, let me tell you something. You go up in the dance, your Afrobeats looking 10-10. You know that the tailor did well with you, or the seamstress, yeah? And you know you're appreciated. You get yourself a nice seat, good positioning, the food is coming through. The food is... And that's the thing about Nigerian parties. Good ones. The levels one. The food won't run out. The drinks won't run out, and you will not have to pay for it. Because when it comes to British culture, sometimes they'll invite you out. They've invited you out to celebrate their thing. Food you're paying for. Drink you're paying for. Parking you're paying for. You don't get that with Nigerian parties. Nigerian parties, when they invite you out, the most they will ever say is, just make sure you're looking 10-10. You can't come to a Nigerian event and look like a tramp. I'm sorry. Because people like to show out. You know when Kendrick said, sometimes you just got to pop out and show what? It's not that N-word. The other N-word is Nigerians. Sometimes you got to pop out and show Nigerians. Because Nigerians don't attend events looking like a tramp. If they invite you to their event, an insult to a Nigerian is that if they invite you to an event and you don't look 10-10, it's rude. These are the kind of standards I like. So you attend the event. If they said, okay, this is the Afrobeat, this is the material, this is how much for the material, you go get it sewn, you do your hair, your makeup, your heels, your clutch, you come. Get yourself a nice seat. The food is there, the drink is there, the DJ is doing what the DJ needs to do, and then you see that MC. You see me, if you got a Nigerian party with a good MC, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm not talking garage MC on the mic. I'm talking about the ones that will use your name, remix it, and they'll be saying sexy lady, and you'll be dancing, and the MC just gassing. You're gassed so much, you're spraying the MC. If you don't know what I'm talking about when I say spraying, I'm saying $1, as in USD, United States dollars. That's what you're just spraying, bam, 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 because you're in a good mood. Everybody's jubilating. Everybody's having fun. This is why I say, if you got a good levels Nigerian shindig, you will have a good time. But there's a few things to ensure you have a good time at a Nigerian party. You see that party you're going to? The best ones are when you know the person directly. And let me take a sip, because I'll get a bit too excited. Spotify gang, I'm taking a good sip. Because you know me, when I rat-a-tat-tat about something I'm passionate about, it just flows, baby. To ensure you have a good experience at a Nigerian party, this is the best of the best type of situations. The person celebrating something, you know them directly, okay? By knowing them directly and you're on good terms with them, I'm going to get into the good terms later on in the episode, they will ensure that you get a good seat at a good table. They've probably told one of the girls that's waiting on the table, you see that table? You better look after them. I know it's bad. We'll get into the politics of that later on in the show. They will say, you see that table? That one is Big Mommy. That one is my friend. That one is my sister. That one is my in-law. Cool. And they'll say, you see that person on that table? You better look after that person on that table. You will not be asking anybody, is there any rice left, any fish left, any meat left? And they'll be telling you, it's finished. Because let me tell you something. If you go to a Nigerian party and you ask if there's any fish or meat left and they tell you it's finished, let me tell you something. It's not finished. It's just not available for you. Yeah, because you're not the VIP guest of that person. And it's a trash way to treat people, I know. But the people that are considered VIP, this is why they have a good time. So they will make sure that the food is replenished. You will not be stuck with stale chin-chin at your table. No, sir. Also, that table will be filled with proper bottles of that brown liqueur. And when I'm talking about that brown liqueur, I'm talking your Courvoisier, your Hennessy with a VSOP, okay? It's VSOP, yeah? Yeah, whatever. The Courvoisier, the Hennessy, the Remy Martin. You know the uncles love that, yeah? That is the proper stuff that's going to be on your table. If you are at a table and you have nothing but soft drinks, just know you are not the top invited guest. I'm sorry to say it, but you know I'm going to keep it with you real every time, my Hey Sis fam. Cool. On top of that, when they're taking pictures and it's time to cut the cake, they will call you up. So and so, come up to take pictures with the da-da-da-da-da. You know, I don't use this term, it's a bit freshy, but whatever. The celebrants, that's what they be saying. Come and take pictures with the celebrant. Da-da-da. But that's more like family, to be fair. Family and, let's just say, in-laws. Anyway. Then, when it's time to dance and you spray the person that you are spraying will acknowledge you. They'll be like, my person spraying me. I must turn around, face them, and dance. Yo, listen, I see you watching. I see you keying, but you haven't liked, you haven't subscribed, and I know you haven't left a comment. So before we go any further, I'm watching you. Make sure you do all those things. I think that's enough time. Let's get back to the episode. And then the peste resistance to know that you are a VIPPP guest at Nigerian Function is that when you're leaving, they are not leaving you. They are not letting you leave without, first off, a gift. No matter how big or small, you will leave with a gift. They will ensure that you had a gift, especially if you bought the material. If you didn't buy the material, you already crossed off the list. You might be invited in, but they're not going to regard you. But if you bought the material, they will make sure you leave with a gift and food and drink. They will put it in containers, packaged for you. Now, remember when I was talking about certain gal, you ask them if certain foods are there, they'll tell you it's finished. They will even pack it for that person to go with. Boom. So the pros and cons that I would say for Nigerian parties is this. You will have a good time. The food is there, the drink is there, the party there, the DJ will DJ. However, if you are not regarded, you might not even end up with a seat. And that is one thing I will say though. Nigerian parties are great when you are regarded. But if you are the friend of the friend of the friend, or you are not close to the person celebrating, majority of Nigerians do have a habit of over-inviting because they just love the appearance of having a packed out party. A lot of people will compliment them saying, that party was very full, bare people were there, this, that, and the third. So though, like a party promoter, no one wants an empty function. I get it. So if you are not close to the person celebrating, make sure you attend that party with the person that is close. So you will have a seat, you will have a good experience, this, that, and the third. But there are levels though. So when we bring class into it, we're talking about upper class Nigerians, upper echelon, yeah? There will be a list. You cannot just walk up in there. There will be a seat for you. There will be no cramping of tables. If you are going to a party and it is of a certain class, the venue hire area when it comes to the spec itself might be a bit warehousey. The parking will be very crammed up type of thing. So you have to brace yourself for the experience you want. I would always say it's better to go to far and few than to go to many and you just are peed off every time you come home. That's my take on Nigerian parties. Don't attend too early and don't leave too early if you want the best experience, because the party warms up around, I want to say 10 o'clock, 10, 11 o'clock. The dance floor is still doing what the dance floor needs to do. And for those of you that know the culture well and truly, you know I'm Yoruba, baby. So when we party hard. You already know the vibes. Now let's get on to British culture. I'm sipping. Now when we're going to British functions, and I've been to them all, from christenings to weddings to birthday parties, there is a very much a come and go energy when it comes to British party culture. I'm talking private parties, like I said, weddings, christenings, birthday parties. They love serving cold cuts. If you were to attend a British function and there's warm food, it is rare. You normally get the warm food at weddings, but if it's birthday parties and christenings, we're talking cold cuts. And if you're not familiar, my brothers and sisters, of what cold cuts is, we're talking cuts of ham, cuts of chicken, so as in literal slices of cold chicken, slices of cold ham, normally as a sandwich platter. So let me tell you the spread that you would get typically. You would get a spread where you have fruit, a fruit medley if they're kind of fancy, sandwiches, some salmon on some crackers, cheese, cream cheese on crackers, because British culture is we don't want to feel lethargic after having this meal. We still want to be able to get up and move around. That's very much them. That's why they like walking, running, hiking, very physical activities. Nigerian party culture is very heavy, starchy food, a lot of carbohydrates. You will have fried yam at a party. You will have jollof rice. You will have egusi. You will have soup. You will have puff puff. You will have all these things, which is very heavy food. Hence why at the beginning of a lot of the parties, people are just sat down and then you get to the dancing bit. But with British culture, it's very much light bites, finger foods, as in it will fit in the palm of your hands. They encourage conversation. Yeah, so they will face each other and talk and talk. If you can't conversate, don't bother going to a British party, because they will want to conversate with you. They want to know what you do for a living. How do you know the person celebrating? How are you connected to them? How was your weekend? How was the journey getting here? These are the things that they will talk about. They will talk about the food. Oh, have you tried the cold cuts of lamb? There will even be cold cuts of beef. I know it makes your spine want to shiver. But when they tell you, let me tell you something. If British people can cut something cold and have it cold, they will have it cold, child. Some of the stuff is all right. But if you are very much more into Nigerian culture, I'm just letting you know, in case you get invited somewhere after work, the food will typically be served cold. The drinks are limited, yeah. So you know how I spoke about Nigerian culture? You'll have an array of soft drinks, wines, brown. One thing that you don't get typically at Nigerian parties is you wouldn't get spirits as in vodka. It's brown liquors, as in your brandies, your cognacs, your fizzy drinks, and then you might get the odd non-alcoholic drink, you know, for the people that are, you know, deeper life, church, you know, mountain of fire. They'll go for the Flemish or whatever they call it now, the Schlur. Yeah? So if we talk about British culture, they will encourage conversation, cold cuts of food. The DJ, one time I went to an event, not to give too much away, and I noticed the DJ was sat there. So I just took it upon myself, because I felt like I had a relationship with the person celebrating. I said to the DJ, all I can hear is cutlery clanging, a clack, 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 clack. When are you going to spin something? And he looked at me and went, I've been paid from a certain time, and I start that time in 15 minutes. When we get to that 15 minutes, love, I'll start playing. I was like, oh, this DJ really sat here, set up. The vibes are dead. And he said, I don't start until another 15 minutes, love. I backed up. It's not my party. I was just trying to help the vibes. Cool. Now, when it comes to the drinks, they will, out of courtesy, they might put a young bottle of water and a white wine and a red wine. They might even push to an orange juice. But you see, most of them will have a bar. There'll be a bar there. And in your mind, the Nigerian in you will approach that bar and think, oh, I haven't seen anything I like on the table. Let me, at this British event, go to the bar and get myself the drink I want. You'll be pointing there as well. You'll be like, let me get some of this. And they'll tally up and go, boop, 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 boop. That'll be £10, please. Yes. Yes, you will pay for that drink. This is what happens typically at British events. You will go, the bar will not be paid for like that. Yeah? The bar will say, yeah, we got a wet bar, and you will pay as you go. The drinks that we've paid for are on the table, and you're like, oh, okay. This is why I would say they're a lot more frugal with their money. If they need to buy a house, the money's there. If they're, I'm not gonna lie, if they need to buy a house, the money will be there. But if you're expecting them to be the party starters and spend X amount on an event, that's not gonna happen. Don't expect that. But they are very courteous guests, depending on the class as well. One thing they do very well is that you see if there's cider, they will sip on that 4% alcohol. They will do, boom, boom, and they'll have a good time. One thing I do like about British events, party events, is that they're not afraid to get up and dance. They don't look and say, if somebody hasn't started dancing, I don't want to look like a beg. They will dance. They will dance. They have a good time. They'll talk and dance. Even if they're not dancing, they'll be stood at the dance floor. If there's a vibe to be caught, they will catch the vibe without shame. And I feel like to have a good party, you can't watch people. When people watch people, that is when the parties just die out. Because if you're only going to go by the pace of someone else, are you really having fun? DJ wise, I will say that they love a 2000s. Like, you'll hardly ever hear a lot of modern music when it comes to British events. They will always appreciate their 80s pop music, 90s pop music, and then they'll push it to the 2000s, maybe mid 2000s, and then if they want to get modern, they'll throw in an Adele, they'll throw in an Ed Sheeran and a Dua Lipa. That's about it. If you want to hear something a bit different, which some DJs are willing to do, you got to request it. And that's what I would say the difference is. If it is a British event, British party, and you make a request to the DJ will play it. Like, he'll happily go, you know what, I'll play that after this tune, no problem. If you go to a Nigerian event and you want to tell the DJ what to play, he will ignore that request. The only time he might play it is if you tip him. Yes. And we like to call that in the culture a money wheel up. If you got the money to be like, like maybe a tenner, £20, boom, the tune I just asked you to play, you better play it. The DJ will do it. He'll still do it after the tune he's playing, but that's the difference. Once you know how to enter a room, you know how to optimize to have a good time. I'd say sometimes, majority of the time, there is no bad party. You just don't know what the pattern is. Once you know the pattern to a party, you're always going to have a good time. That's why you'll find people, they'll go to an Afro Nation and say it was dead. Another person will go to Afro Nation and say I had a great time. I'll go to DLT, it was dead. I went to DLT, I had a great time. If you don't know the pattern, just say that before you go and start telling people this is my experience. You might go to a, what's it called again? There's something that this other guy does. He has a podcast anyway. I've been wanting to go there for the longest, but you know what I won't do? Sometimes you can't ask for people's opinion about an event that is subjective. Most of the time, a lot of things are subjective. Based on maybe even the day you had, the journey it took to get there, maybe you got a ticket after the event, that could warp your whole experience. So if I've seen something online being marketed, I can see all the elements that make a good event, from the DJ, the music policy, the venue, whatever. Let me just go and see it for myself. The ticket's not going to break the bank. I'd rather pay 20, 30, whatever odd pounds for a domestic event. And even if we go as far as maybe some of these events are in Paris, let me have my own decision, my own impression of the event. So then when I really tell someone what it's like, it's off my first impression. And my dad talks about this all the time. He doesn't like when people oversell something to him. Because now, if you oversell something to somebody, the expectation is high. So you could still have a good event, but because someone's now described it on a level that's excellent, if you get good, you're going to be like, it's not as good as I thought it would be. And now the whole impression of that event is warped. So I say this to say, whether it be British or Nigerian, there is no good, there is no bad. It's just a matter of preference. For me personally, I'd say Nigerian, if I know the person. But you've been listening to another banging episode of Hey Sis. Before you go, you need to make sure that you like, subscribe, drop a comment. And if there's anything you want me to talk about, send me a DM or an email. Or if you got yourself a dilemma that you want your sis to solve, send a DM. Until then, make sure you do one thing and one thing only, and that's stay blessed. Bye.
I wanna get more of that.
I undress and he blows success. Lay down as you decompress. Come mine and forget the stress. Got the 9 to 5 cause he tryna change his life. He can't help it but to show his bad side. So he call me Jesse when he want that good ride. Follow my stride, you know you want a good time. Pick any card, I know it won't decline. He know how to please me, never tease me. Keep me in Givenchy, laced in Gucci. Quick, take the keys and drive to Chelsea. Eat a Scalini, order linguine. He ordered the chateau, we got it to go. Then flew to the chateau, you already know. Friends telling me they see the glow. There's no way they know, well I guess it shows.